I will start the session in 1 minute. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session of After Hours with William O'Neill India. And before we go ahead with the session, I'll just like to give a small disclaimer that any security that we'll be discussing in today's session should not be considered as a buy or sell recommendation and should be just taken for education purpose. So talking about Nifty's today's movement, it was like, as you've seen, it was highly positive. Nifty gained by around 2.6% for the day. And if you look at the last couple of days for Nifty, it was highly volatile. So tracking global cues like on last, if you talk about Friday's movement for your the US markets post your that was probably the reaction on the Jackson Hole Symposium comments from your Jerome Powell, and it was taken as highly hawkish that maybe even a 75 basis rate hike was on the cards for the next meeting. So probably market participants are pricing in around a 50 basis rate hike. So maybe it can be 70 basis rate hike even for the next meeting as well. So which led to your US indices going down by around 3%, 3 to 4% on Friday, which even led to your Nifty declining by having a gap down of around 300 points yesterday. But as Nifty was very resilient and it recovered yesterday and it closed, it still reached its 21 DMA yesterday, but it closed around 1.3% lower. And talking about today's movement, it was like really positive. Nifty had a gap of opening of around 100 points. It opened around 17,400, and then you can see in the candles that it just continued to march upwards, and it closed, and it during this time it reclaimed its 21 DMA, reclaimed its 10 EMA, and closed in very close to the highs of the day. So it closed around 17,750. So talking about today's move, it was really highly positive, and even you can see in this chart what I was talking about in the previous slide as well. Nifty, I mean, talking about these 2 days, that is yesterday and your today's movement. If you see it, Nifty breached this pink line, and that was the 21 DMA, and we did just kind of a sign of weakness. So as you can see, it was a really bullish and strong candle for today, and Nifty reclaimed both this 21 DMA and 10 EMA along the way. Even talking about the volumes on Nifty was around 320 million, 22 million, which is much higher than the 50-day average volume of 233 million, and even much higher than previous 3-4 days volumes as well. So overall, today's sign can be considered a really bullish sign. So going forward, Nifty did find some overhead supply around the 18,000 levels, and can feel some pressure around those levels of 18,000, 18,100, 18,300. So let's see what happens, and what this Nifty has for us in the coming times. On the O'Neill front as well, the distribution day count is very low at 2, and one distribution day is expected to expire in this week itself on the 25-day rule. And so overall, I mean, the market continued to remain in confirmed uptrend, and that's it on the Nifty front. So talking about the top gainers and losers, the Bajaj twin, the Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finance were the top gainers by around 5.4% and 5%. IndusInd Bank, Tech came, and ICICI Bank advanced by around 4.3, 3.9, and 3.9%. So all the Nifty 50 stocks advanced for today, and there was no decliner for Nifty today. Talking about the sector view, it was all green, and as you can see, all the sectors advanced today. Major advances for Today, if you talk about today, major advances were Nifty Realty, which advanced by around 3.5%. Then came the financial services and the banks, where the financial services advanced by around 3.4%. Nifty Bank by around 3.3%. Auto and IT, which had a dampened move in the last few days, also advanced by around 2.6%. So talking about the key news for the day on the company specific front, Heromotors opened its Xpulse Experience Center in Bengaluru. Granules got under approval for loperamide, hydrochloride, and simethicone tablets. Hydrochloride tablets are used to treat diarrhea, and the other tablets are used to treat gastro problems. India Bulls Housing Finance also approved issue of NCDs for as much as 1,000 crores. RK for backed export orders of 20 crores per annum for the supply of metal bars in the non-auto segment. On the banking side, central bank in co-lending partnership with Shapoorji Pallonji to offer MSME loans. Talking about the global macro data, the evening data would be dominated by your US consumer confidence data. So the previous data came in at 95.7, and the expectations is at 97.6 for the consumer confidence data. The other is the Joel job openings. Now let's come to the favorite part, and that's the chart of the day. And talking about the chart of the day for us is Praj Industries. And again, before going ahead with the company, I'd like to give a small disclaimer that should not be considered as a buy or sell recommendation. What is being talking right now? So talking about Praj Industries Q1 FY23 results, the Q1 FY23 results was better than the consensus estimates, and even the order flows was a beat on the estimates. The company reported an 89% and 85% YOY growth in the revenue pack. EBITDA margin came under some marginal pressure of 20 bips YOY to 7.7%. Overall, even the order book has remained strong, and the order inflow was around 1,094 crores, which is up 66% YOY. Despite the global inflation and challenge, it took order backlog to around 3,242 crores. The management is pretty positive on future order flows from domestic as well as exports markets amidst concerns on climate change and increasing acceptance of biofuel. Uh, it's likely that Praj will be enjoying market leadership in the domestic 1G ethanol space, along with strong technological edge in the biofuel space, and is expected to be a major beneficiary from the energy transmission. Some key experts from the management was that the inquiry levels are expected to remain good, given the opportunity from the domestic and international markets in the bioenergy space. As per the management, the continued traction on ethanol blending program, uh, which is taken up pace in the Indian space, and expects future opportunity to emerge from 2G ethanol, flex fuel, SAF, and CBG space. So overall, on the fundamental front, if you look at it, it delivered a very good results, and even with the kind of order backlog it has at the moment, and with new orders coming in, probably that would come in at a higher price, which will offset your higher raw material cost, and which will lead to improvement in gross margins and EBITDA margins from likely to lead to improvement in gross margins and EBITDA margins from H2 FY23 onwards. On the O'Neill front, if we talk about it, whatever we talk, like you can see, the EPS strength is really great at 8. Similarly, in the last few quarters, if you look at the results, it's really superb. And even the ROE, if you look at it, the ROE is 18%, which is really good at the moment. And even the buyer demand is great at A minus, which is a tick on the O'Neill front. The price strength, which is fair at 69, but if you can look at this last three candles, the RS line has been trending higher. There's been good accumulation. You can see good blue bars going up. So that's the positive sign. We would like to look at it, and the stock forming a consolidation base, and it's still 6% from to pivot. So a person who wants to keep the stock in the watch list can easily keep it. And the only thing that we would like to see in the coming time is similar high blue bars going forward with stock probably breaking out on above average volumes would be the perfect sign. So, thank you, and do stay tuned with us on the after hours and the pre-bill space, and lots of festivities wishes to our subscribers and to our listeners going forward, and hope to connect with you on Thursday. So